for tuning in to Community Updates right here on WJZZ Cool TV. Well, this evening we have some awesome guests that are going to be talking about our youth. Our youth are a tremendous aspect. We have to keep in mind the importance of us teaching, training, that it does take a village to raise our children, and keeping them empowered and encouraged in every aspect of their lives. It's not just up to the parents. So tonight we've got some wonderful people that all work in education as well as myself. And we're going to be talking with Miss Regina Hall, Miss Robin Mack, and Dr. Clarence Nixon. And we're going to be talking with them as we go along in the program. But when you tune into community updates, I always ask you to bring your paper and your pencil, because we give you information that is important to our communities. Our communities, not just here in the Michigan area where the podcast starts from, but our communities throughout the country. So this evening, I want to share with you a couple of things about the water. We've been talking about the water, and even this week I saw another reel or segment that spoke about the water and how bad our water is becoming around the country. So I've been telling you about Ready Fresh, which is a water filtration system, and how you can get one for your home. I actually love my water filtration system. It's similar to an Absopure, but it is not Absopure. It's sleeker, it's prettier, it's cheaper, and so it's a cost effective, and you get hot and cold water. I absolutely love it, and didn't think I had a space for it, but I had a space where it fit. So you can call 248. I normally have this number written down, but you can call 248. I should know this number by heart, but I don't. 798-0232. Again, that's 248-798-0232, and get your Ready Fresh filtration system for your home. They were talking about the water. I was looking at the water in Mississippi. It was black mud. Yes. The water in Flint. I don't know if, some of you live within Oakland County here in Michigan. The water, they're saying, is not great in Oakland County either, because of the waste. In California, Florida, we're hearing more and more about how the water is not good in many different areas. And so we want to be wise and put proper things in our body. And they have alkaline water as well as spring water that you can get. And again, that number is 248-798-0232. You can give Ready Fresh a call, 248-798-0232. I've been sharing with you about Wayne County Community College District. The classes started already at the college, but now starting October the 4th, we have continuing education classes. Some have started already, and some will start on October the 4th. So for those of us who are 60 and up, all classes are free. Every class is free. If you want to take a HVAC class, a painting class, a Zumba class, every class is free. Some people go and get their degree, an additional degree, or just give you something to do to keep your mind sharp and learning, continuing to learn. So keep that in mind at Wayne County Community College District. All classes are free for those 60 and up. And it's not just, you can register for the continuing education courses, no matter what age you are, but they're just free to 60 and up. So that's one piece of information for you. And then I've joined a new organization. Oh, the number to Wayne County Community College District is 313-496-2600. Again, that's 313-496-2600 for Wayne County Community College District. And you don't have to live in Wayne County to attend classes there. We have numerous online classes. You can live in Yugoslavia and take a class at Wayne County Community College District.
If you're 60 and over?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. You can take a class no matter what age you are.
Right. Yeah.
They're just free
if you're 60
to those that are 60 and older.
Okay.
Yes. And I've just joined a new group called Women's Life. group, of which you're part of that group as well. And I'm just so happy to join this group. And we have a domestic violence awareness wine walk coming up on October the 1st. Women's Life is national, is it not? A national organization?
It is national.
It is national.
It is national.
So there are groups all over the country, and it's a wonderful organization that is not just comprised of women, but started out for women, and particularly for women that were challenged and didn't have additional income, didn't have insurance. And so this is one of the fundraisers that is coming up on October the 1st. It's a domestic violence walk, awareness wine walk that will be held here in Detroit. And if you'd like more information on that, the phone number to get more information, or they seem to have an email on here at Nexus Detroit. I put my glasses on. It says NEXUSDETROIT1@gmail.com. That's nexusdetroit1@gmail.com.
Okay.
And then you can find out more information for that if you'd like to walk and support Women's Life Network. We're going to jump right in here because we've got some wonderful information and an activity that's coming up that we're going to be talking more about, which is called International Day of the Girl Child.
Yeah.
And so that's an event that'll be coming up. And Miss Hall, I mentioned we've got Miss Regina Hall, Miss Robin Mack, and Dr. Clarence Nixon. And each of you work in education. I was looking and reading through your bios, and it's wonderful that you're working together. And one of the things you're starting out is working around the International Day of the Girl Child.
Yes.
So tell us more about that.
Yep.
Ms.
So I have been a part of International Day of Women, Women's International Day, and that's normally on March 6th.
Okay.
And I started to wonder, was there a program for girls? Is there something just for girls? Because I feel that a lot of times our girls are ignored. And Lord and behold, I punched it in, and there it was. And I said, wow, I've never heard of the International Day of the Girl Child. And I decided from that moment.
You need to move into the screen.
I decided from that moment that it was going to give me an opportunity, the International Day of the Girl Child, which was started by United Nations Women. And it was started based on the fact that they wanted to make sure that they drew attention to girls all over the world and really brought awareness to the inequalities that girls go through. And any inequality that girls suffer is not having the opportunities that others may have. And so because that was their premise, I thought this was really great for me to get involved in. In 2019, I actually did an event for girls. It was a conference, and 50 girls showed up. That was my first time. We had it planned for 2020, but we couldn't do it because of the COVID. And this was my way of jumping back in and bringing awareness to the International Day of the Girl Child with United Nations. I asked Robin, well, actually, we were at a meeting. Yes. And Robin and I talked, and she decided to get involved, and that's how Dr. Nixon got involved through Robin. So this is our trio.
Network.
Yep.
Yes.
That was some good networking.
Yeah.
And this is actually the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, this is the 10-year anniversary of International Day of the Girl Child.
And you're going to be doing some things on October the 11th, correct?
Yes. Yes.
What's happening on October the 11th? What will you be doing? And I know that you were looking for some donation support.
Yes.
If we can have people to donate toiletries and
Yes.
sanitary things, as well as toothbrush, toothpaste,
Yeah.
panties, for girls?
Yes.
Because some of these things will be going to girls in Africa.
That is correct, in Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
And so with that, though, it's really hard
But
to...
we can't send them.
No, we can't
Right.
send them, but we can make
Donations,
donations.
monetary donations.
Yes, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
And so there are a couple of questions there. So what are we doing to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child? I have asked teachers, organizations, as well as principals, everybody to get involved that day doing something to acknowledge girls on that day. So like we have an organization, they're going to be reading books that day. T-Lab, and I'll let Dr. Nixon talk more about that.
Levy Middle School
Levy.
in Southfield.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then hopefully
My
Northbrook.
son went to Levy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I always forget. He said, "How can you not remember where I went to junior high?" I said, "That was for where you went." I know where I went.
I know that's right.
Go ahead.
And then North and Berkeley is supposed to be involved, as well as an organization, Wayne Metro, is going to be involved. And so what we have done, we started small this year just to make sure that we are at least spreading the word, and plus we're small, as you see, in doing this. And so the hope is that people will read books. We're going to be talking about careers. We're going to be having some girls present, and like I said, Dr. Nixon would talk more about that. We are also going to be presenting on self-esteem, conflict, STEAM. Yeah,
What
so
did you say?
STEAM.
STEAM.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there are just various topics right now that we're going to be presenting on, as well as asking the community to get involved. Now, the other question that you ask is about Nigeria. Nigeria, they have an organization which is ran by Beatrice Awasuf. She started a group called Christian Widows and Widowers. This organization helps women and men who have lost their spouse, and they are responsible for the children. And so there are many girls over in Nigeria, as well as throughout Africa, who cannot go to school when they have their cycle. And they are
That's what you were
teased.
sharing with us.
Yeah, and they are teased about it because the boys know when they're not at school. And so they're going to be making these items for the girls, and they're asking for donations. This is the part that we took up. Now they're doing other type of fundraisers, but as an organization, Sisters Journeying Together is the name of my organization. We have decided to take up that aspect to make sure that girls have those things.
So tell us, how would you like people to reach you? What's your website?
Yep.
And it's on the flyer that has been circulating around, but
Yes.
please share it with our viewers and listeners this evening.
Yes, they can go to Sisters Journeying, JOURNEYING, together, it's one word, .org. And they can go there on my website. You can sign up there. You can leave a message there. You can call. There is a number, 248-648-1733, that they can call and find out more about it.
So again, that number, if you want to call and find out more about it, is 248-648-1733. And if
Yes.
you want to go to the website, it's Sisters Journeying Together, SISTERSJOUR.
JOURNEYING together.org. And yeah, they can go there and find out more information about it, because that website is really dedicated.
It's a wonderful
for this.
website. I
Well,
was
thank
looking
you.
at it today.
I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
thank you for having us. I didn't get to say that to
Yes,
you.
well, I'm so glad to have you here. This is what Community Updates is all about. We share information with communities that people need to know. They don't always know some of the things, the resources that are available to us in our communities. And again, we have people listening from Alabama, Florida, from all over the country. And so it's not just our communities, but we each have things to share and information that is in all the
Yeah.
communities. And if you want to call in here, again, you can watch us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. And you can call in here tonight to the station at 313-355-6018. If you have any questions as we're talking along, please give us a call here at 313-355-6018. So tell me how you all have tied in together. I was reading that you work. Are you a principal in the school?
No,
Okay, but you.
actually, I was in corporate America. And
Okay.
so I was an engineer. So I
Yes.
have the STEAM background. I was a chemist at first and then an engineer at Ford Motor Company and then GM. So, and then after that, and I've tutored, I've done substitute teaching, and then I've also worked with Dr. Nixon at T-Lab and him and his students. And he'll, that's K through 12, and he'll talk more about that. So my interest is because what I went through as a young girl, and I know young girls are going through that today, and not have the self-esteem issues, and then the success, what they think is success,
Yeah.
and success
Hello?
really is different.
Yes, we've got a
Oh,
caller
hi.
that's called in. Hello, how are you, caller?
Oh, hi, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. I'm sorry to bothering you, ma'am. By the way, this is Mary, and I'm calling from That's Great News. We're about sending an email to Miss Valerie Richardson. This is about the featured article from Voyage, Michigan, and I'm
Okay. Yeah.
Are you still there, Mary?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure what organization. It didn't seem to tie in with what we're
No.
speaking about. But I mean, feel free to call back, Mary. But again, if you're listening this evening, you want to give us a call. We are talking about the International Day of the Girl Child and how this group of people are working together with K through 12, with empowering young women, with sharing with women in particularly some of the things that would help their self-esteem, help them to grow. And there was a slogan that you all had on the emails that you sent me that I thought was really, really nice. But I don't see
Is
where I
it
wrote it.
empowering girls to become empowering women?
Yes,
Yes.
empowering girls to become empowering women. I like that.
Yeah.
But now, on the flip side of that, what I see is that we don't have enough programs for young men. Has anybody noticed that? Besides me, we have a lot of programs
Dr.
for
Nixon
women.
covers both areas.
Oh, good.
We cover both areas. But
Wonderful.
There are some real
Sit a little
special
closer to the
programs that I can speak of. One is called the Milwaukee Fellows Program,
Okay.
which is in Milwaukee, and they support only African American young men.
Okay.
And so they have as a mission to raise $5 billion. And what they plan on doing is providing scholarships and college opportunities for over 20,000 African American young men is what they do. And so our organization is very much a part of that. Now, my organization is called T-Lab.
Yes.
And we are a high performance learning laboratory for students from grades pre-K through undergraduate now,
Okay.
primarily because the demand is there. And so what we've had the opportunity to do is just work with some great people. So, we've had an opportunity to work with these two outstanding women. And so what we've discovered in all that we've done is that really the highest performing demographic in the African American community happen to be African American females. Matter of fact, African American females are the number one demographic in college in America, bar none. And so African American females, number one in college, number one in terms of graduating
Women
from
rule
college.
the world.
There's no question. But when we think of and we look at what has happened in the world historically and obviously what has happened in this country historically, obviously, I think it'd be hard to say that it isn't the demographic that has been the most abused, the most exploited. And so all that we do to try to support and help them. And in T-Lab, our young women are the highest performing young women. And T-Lab supports young people throughout the world. So we deliver services on 4 continents.
Wonderful.
And it just so happens that, our best students happen to be females. But that's not to, to say that the young men aren't doing some great stuff, but the young women are just doing an outstanding job.
So I was reading in your bio and the other information I received. How are you leveraging the spiritual aspect with the women and the how are you doing that based on your program?
Well, our foundation is found spiritually.
Okay.
And so the core scriptures, Deuteronomy 28 and 13. And the essence of Deuteronomy 28 and 13 just deals with obedience. And a covenant.
Tell
and
us
a-
what Deuteronomy 28:13 is for all of those who aren't
Absolutely.
the Bible scholars on this
The essence
listening.
of Deuteronomy 28 and 13, God has made us a promise, and he says that if you are obedient, he will make you the head, not the tail, above only, not beneath. And so it's a performance standard that God has given. And so we
And I love that
expect
you
our
said
students-
if.
Yes.
He said, if you carefully and diligently obey, then.
No question.
Yeah.
No
But
question.
sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
We just say, Lord, I just want all the blessings. Bless all the work of my hands. I'm blessed. We love the Fred Hammond song, blessed in the city and blessed in the field. But you got to obey.
Amen.
All
If
right.
you diligently.
He
I looked
says
up
what?
that word diligently. That means with painstaking effort or care, according to the Webster's dictionary. And so that means it's going to hurt sometime. I fell yesterday in the gym, and I've been in the hospital all night and all morning.
Oh, wow.
But I still had a job to do
Absolutely.
to get here today.
Absolutely.
And so I had to press through the pain and keep it moving. So sometimes we have to press through circumstances, and I'm sure with the children and the young children you meet, because I've taught in K through 12 too, and they really are going through some, squatting or situations at home, and they have to press through
Yes, they
whatever they're going through to get their education, to be encouraged. So, and I see that with your program, your focus is empowering and encouraging. I mean, each of you are doing that, the young women.
Yes.
So tell
And
us how you're
especially
doing
in
that.
STEAM, because,
Yeah.
young girls and boys, when it gets hard, then they're like, okay, I don't want to do that. I'm going to change to a easier major. And then they just stop.
Absolutely.
But now all the jobs that are coming up and the opportunities that are available, high-paying jobs in the Michigan area, you need that science and you need that mathematics, even if you're doing skilled trades. So, what my program is, I have the Shining Light Works, but I also work with young women and like 12 preteens, 12 to 25. And in that program, basically it's called Light to Life Success. And it's finding what success is to them. They look at other people, singers, entertainers, and they think, oh, that's success, the money. And then I think of Miss USA. She had the brains, beauty, she was in front of the cameras, Entertainment Tonight, and she committed suicide. So looking on the outside, they would say, oh, wow, I want to be just like her.
And didn't know all the
It
turmoil
did
she
not.
was going
And then
on.
when I was in high school,
Yeah.
I thought about committing suicide. And so that's why
Thank you
it's
for
really
sharing.
passionate
Yeah.
for me
Yeah.
Yeah.
to help young girls and say, hey, this is just a season, and you'll get through this. And so that's what my program is, aimed at, helping them with the self-esteem, helping them with the STEAM, and helping them with life skills.
And Robin, you're
Yeah.
not by yourself, and I just thought about it now, but as we all have different testimonies, I tried to commit suicide too before. When I was getting divorced, I that was just, it was too much, and took a bunch of pills. But praise be unto God who causes us to triumph. I'm still here and you're still here.
Yes.
And that's what we have to do, is encourage one another and keep each other uplifted. When my grandchildren use the word hard, I try to get them to turn it around. Don't say that's too hard. It's challenging. That's a different word. See, challenging still leaves room for improvement, still leaves room for, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I believe in teaching children to speak positively over themselves. You don't have to wait till you get older like us and learn to speak. Teach them while they're little.
And
To
that's-
speak positively affirmations over themselves,
Yeah.
to keep themselves encouraged.
Yeah.
Well, that's the essence of our program. And
Oh,
so
wonderful.
We leverage a lot of great systems. So we're a systems-oriented organization. So one of the things that we leverage and use, we call it the weekly review. And the
Okay.
weekly review is a half hour that a student takes, and the student will run a meeting with the coach. And the whole
Oh, the
essence of it.
students run the meeting
Oh,
with the
absolutely.
coach. Wonderful.
And the student come.
That's
this is-
teaching them leadership.
Absolutely. Standard
Public
agenda.
speaking.
Standard agenda starts with prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Student will walk through one of the proverbs. So they walk through proverbs because it's all about wisdom.
Yeah.
And then students will share how they spent 168 hours because we get 168 hours in a week.
So it's a scripture-based program?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
No question. And so our students get a chance to leverage the systems that we have in place, but not only our students, but parents as well. So our program is for parents and for students.
I love that when I was reading that because it takes the parents. Sometimes we'll send children to school and think that they're supposed to learn everything from the teachers, and that's not so.
Right.
It takes the village, it takes the
does.
parents have to. I was happily surprised when I passed a school in my neighborhood last night and the parking lot was full. I said it must be a parent-teacher conference night. But that's so important
No question. I
for the
mean,
parents to stay
yeah,
involved.
I am one who, I love numbers. And so we drive numbers. And so one of the core measures that we look at are ACT scores. And for African Americans, it's just not a good metric for us right now. Only 6% of African American students meet the benchmark for ACT, which is 21.25. And when you look at us from a financial perspective, 5% of African American households do more than 200,000. Another 5% up to 199,000. Then you got a big group that makes
We
up to
make the money,
150,000.
but we don't
Absolutely.
save the money or keep it, float. We don't even keep it floating within our community as we should.
No
We're
question.
getting better, I think,
Yeah.
at
But
that.
you know,
Yeah.
what,
We're getting
but
better.
I truly believe that you can't expect people to do things that they haven't been taught.
Amen.
And so you have to teach it.
Yeah.
You look at the Jews, they have the kibbutz. I mean, and so they have systems in their communities that enable them to learn. Now, obviously, we've had much farther to go. I mean, you can't deny that. And so when you look at where we are now, it's just a tremendous opportunity. And so, for us and what we see, what's happening with young people, it's just phenomenal. And then
You
our
do
young
this SAT, ACT pre-test,
Oh,
both
absolutely.
of them.
Typically, a
Teach-
student in our program would typically start, the average one starts in second grade, and they're with us through college. So
Okay.
we're supporting kids through college. And so typically,
So where are your students coming from? How do they?
All over
How
the
does
world.
one get connected to your program?
word of mouth has been our biggest
Okay.
marketing source. But, we have a website, www.tlab-global.com.
Okay.
We're
We're gonna give that again.
www.
We forget the www. But
TLAB dash-
TLAB
global.com.
And then
dash.
Dr.
Okay.
Nixon has a great financial program where he teaches the students on the stock market as well.
Oh, wonderful.
So every student
Yeah.
in our program is expected to have both a financial footprint, so they get a certification in Bloomberg, but as well Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and some of the other systems. And so, our median ACT score is 30.7. And we've done north of, $19 million in academic scholarships. And our students graduate from college without debt. And so, and once again,
Mack, you
leadership comes from, absolutely.
Thank you.
Leadership comes from, our young women. We just had some outstanding young women from this community. And so relationship building. And so, we've got 250 students that are in Nairobi, Kenya. These students participate and they live in an orphanage, Overcomers Cares Ministry in Nairobi, Kenya. And so here, these are children.
Both of you are connecting with Africa.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you must.
Yeah.
Because the walk is similar, and whether people know it or not, for the most part, they've gone through all that we've gone through and then some, right?
Yeah.
And so Nigeria, the same way. Big program in Nigeria. We're in the process of onboarding 1,000 Nigerian students. And so, I just believe that all the opportunities exist, and it's up to the adults to do what adults need to do. I don't blame this on children. Children are here to be guided. God has given us them to guide and direct them, and that's what we do. And we find out that when we do that at T-Lab and working with these two outstanding women, that young women are able to accomplish and achieve great things.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too, for T-Lab, when Robin had mentioned Dr. Nixon, what was really great that we came up with that the girls would lead his program. We're not sending women in. I think we're going to have one speaker, right? And Robin's going to say something. But overall, the girls are going to lead the program because they are from various areas and they can talk about their experiences. So when we took on the International Day of the Girl Child, we wanted to give the freedom to the organizations, whether they wanted us to come in or they wanted some teachers or they wanted some of their coaches or whatever to take over and be a part. We wanted to provide those tools to them, but we wanted it to be their program. And this was our way of saying, be a part.
So how do we get girls involved? So let me be clear. So International Day of the Girl Child, is there a particular event going on, or just a day of awareness that you want us to be aware?
So there are events going on in school. T-Lab is doing an event.
Okay.
There are several organizations in schools that I'm connected with. The school the Levy Miller School.
So within
and
the schools,
even on,
there'll be different events going on.
Yes,
and
in various-
different youth, female girls will be conducting.
His
in some
program
school.
is, some of us are going in to do it. Some of the girls are. It just depends
on which location.
what they wanted for their program.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and
you're
all of
looking
it's free.
for mentors as well.
Yeah, well, see, Sisters Journeying Together is the organization that I run.
Okay.
And so the way Sisters Journeying Together came about, I wrote a book. The book is called Mommy, I Need You. The purpose of my book was to share about the sexual abuse I suffered at the hands of a next door neighbor, as well as knowing that my mom didn't believe me, but how God stepped in and how he healed me.
Yes.
And so when you talk about suicide, I had thoughts of suicide. I felt like Mary Magdalene. I just needed so much healing from what had happened to me. And
So many people need healing.
yeah.
We're sharing it, but how many people are not sharing?
Well, see, that's it. They're not sharing
Yeah.
it. And so what...
And it still bothers them,
Yes.
And it's that internal thing. Sometimes when you're going through something, you have to get back to the root of where you've got the problem down here, but where did it start? What was the root cause? And then you've got to start from there and say, okay, I need healing in this area, even though I just kind of suppressed it.
Well, it's kind of hard sometimes to even identify it, right? Because some people have shut that off. They don't, you know what I mean? Because our bodies will move in to protect us. And being in the mental health field, you see it quite often. And you can really understand it. And that was one of the reasons, too, wanting to do this type of work, because I wanted our girls to know that they mattered. Like, I was working with one program and we were doing affirmations that day, and the mentors, us, we were instructing ourselves, hey, we're gonna speak, we're gonna affirm you today, we're gonna say awesome, beautiful things about you. It was about 6 or 7 of us, and some of the girls were very receptive. Well, the girl that I was speaking to, she literally broke down. She couldn't take it. She couldn't take this affirmation from me. And she just started crying. I started talking with her and everything, and she said, I am called a bitch every day. Every day.
Wow.
That it broke us.
And then when it must be coming from her family.
It was coming from her dad.
Wow.
It was coming from her dad. Did it to her every single day. And so it was hard. And so that's another thing we have to understand, that we put up walls to things that we can receive that's good for us. And you have to begin to break down those walls. And you have to be careful, too, how you break them down. And so this is why Sisters Journeying Together came about, for mentors, women like us. So yes, we are asking for mentors, and yes, this program is now kicking off again, but it's moving slow, because we are getting out through that half where we getting back, out into getting back out there. So
Well,
yes.
for those of you who are listening right here on WJZZ Cool TV, you give us a call. If you've got some questions, maybe you've got some things that you're going through that you might want to share right here on the program, or get in touch with one of the wonderful guests that we've got today. Call us at 313-355-6018. Share your stories. it helps to share what you're going through,
Yes.
to not hold on to those weights,
That's right.
those things that become burdens and weigh us down.
That's right.
We need to lift those things up off of ourselves and recognize that we are lights.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are lights on
And
the
we need to
earth,
shine.
and we need to shine,
That is
shine
so
forth
true.
like a bright light in every area that we can.
That's right.
And
Well,
so, go
you want to
ahead.
get
Stands for Shining Light Works.
Okay.
And my phone number is 248
Mm-hmm.
730.
we're gonna
Thank you. Because we're going to repeat it. 248.
730
Uh-huh.
0867.
Okay. Repeat that number for us again. This is for Robin Mack, viewers and listeners, that has a program called
It's Shining Light Works, and for youth, it's Light to Life Success. Yes.
I love that. And her
Yeah.
number is 248 730 0867. One of the things that I'd like to see, sometimes people call in, and sometimes I'm finding that people are listening and they're shy to call in.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You know, call in as you want to, but we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, we would.
We want to hear from you because we all have different challenges and things that we go through in life, and it's important for us to share and talk about them. And we've got 3 experts in the mental health field, in the empowerment field, in the educational field. You're going through things with your children, how to keep them empowered, how to keep them encouraged. I mean, for our children to be committing suicide at the rates that they're committing
Yeah.
suicide, I mean, that just didn't even occur. I just wanted to go outside and play.
Yeah.
But these children today are really the bullying that's going on.
Cyberbullying.
Yes.
In the
24/7.
cyberbullying.
Where
Yes.
before, when we were in school, we went to school, you might have got bullied and you got home, or
That's
some
right, you
people
went home.
did.
That's right.
Now,
See, I was
it's
that
like,
kid that didn't get bullied. I was the
Oh.
child that said who could fight today and who couldn't.
Did you bully?
No, I was the leader. They let me be the leader. I was like, oh no, we're not gonna fight today. Y'all fight another day. We're gonna play today.
Okay.
But that kind of thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got bullied either, but I
But
know
a lot
some
of
people
children
did.
I did.
Did
Well,
you?
Yeah,
You know,
my God, I
We
did.
didn't view it as bullying.
I
So it
did.
was always-
If you were on that
so
side.
people always played the dozens.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and so that was just the essence of where we grew up. Now you did have a
Dr.
community
Nixon, I'm
around you
sorry.
that was there to
You said
help
that's
you.
not your story.
Yeah, but think of it in this respect. When you look at today, media, and I'll say this, media and that consumer culture combined together is what put a lot of pressure on everybody.
Okay.
That's
Everybody.
true.
I mean-
Because I used to get called Black Sambo, Tar
Me too.
Baby, all that kind of stuff, and so it didn't make me think when people would say you're a pretty black girl, that was not a compliment to
That's
me.
right.
I agree with
That's
that.
I took offense to that.
I don't think of it as a
I mean, I
compliment.
don't think it, I love it now, but as a child, that was not a compliment to me because of the Tar Baby and the Black Sambo comments.
Yeah.
But why not just be a pretty girl?
And that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Why can't I be just a pretty girl? Why don't I have to be a pretty black girl? It was an insult. It was not a compliment.
Yeah.
But you can look at that 2 ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what counts is how that parent at home deals with it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and how that community deals with it, right? Because you're absolutely right. It takes a village. I had, we had, primarily black people in our community,
Mm-hmm.
but every parent took ownership for every child.
Mm-hmm.
So not only could you get disciplined by them, but they also took part in giving you love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Now we don't even know our neighbors.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the crux of it is, I mean, the systems and what happens to kids is so deep, right? Because everybody wants a education.
And they get it all around the world.
That's right.
With these games, our
That's
children are talking to other
That's right.
youth all around the
All
world.
around the world.
Playing video games with people in China and
Right.
everywhere. And you parents have to really be careful with that. I know that there are monitoring devices that you can help monitor, but I think that's still, there's some ways that is slipping through
Yeah.
Of course.
with
For
the kids.
sure.
And you all
Of
are
course.
dealing with the youth, you know. What are some of the things that you all are seeing today with the K through 12 and with the youth? And
I was just gonna say, you see where these kids are encouraging kids to commit suicide.
oh my
Like
goodness.
they're going online, and they may be saying what they're going through, and I've seen where they have actually said, "Go ahead and do it. Why are you waiting?"
Oh, that's terrible.
It is.
Well, that's mean, that mean spirited,
spirit.
right? It can be.
Right.
Well, since COVID, a lot of kids are suffering from a lot of anxiety and depression. And it has escalated greatly, and it doesn't matter. It's K on up right now, and so that's what I'm seeing in mental health, is that it has increased, and unfortunately, we can, as parents, sometimes have conversations we really don't need to have around our children, or say things, So we
Absolutely.
have to be really careful about how we
And that's
speak
so
and what we
important.
say around our children.
When we were coming up, there was the children's place and the parents' place.
That's
and You
right.
children, you didn't get engaged in the parents' conversation. Matter of fact, you were told to go to another room.
That's right.
Be seen and not heard.
I don't
Nowadays,
necessarily
everybody's trying.
agree with that, but yes, I mean the other room. But I think you should always be seen. But go ahead, I get it.
But now parents are letting their children be in any conversation.
That's true.
Talk
And-
to any parent.
And they don't have a filter.
And
Right.
yes,
No
and
boundaries.
thus our children are thinking, well, I don't have to respect you unless you
Exactly.
respect me. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
That when I grew up, you had to respect your elders just for the fact that they were older than you.
Exactly.
Just for that fact alone, they've been here 10, 20 years more than you. But now our youth are saying, well, if you don't respect me, I don't have to respect you.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you might get some respect, but you 10 or you 20.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they won't back down either.
And they won't back down.
No.
And that's
yeah.
because they're being engaged, and parents are making their children, oh, that's my friend. No, that's your child
yeah.
that you've got to teach. That's not your I mean, they could be your friend, but not
I think
like
that's
that.
why we're needed as a community, because the Bible says that it's up to us. Women are to rear our girls, and
Titus too.
yeah, and so we want to do that.
Okay, I don't know
We
that's
do.
what- that's
Yeah,
scripture.
we
Okay.
we want to make sure that we are involved, because I don't want God saying to me that I didn't do my part.
Right.
And I think that if you just do one girl, you saying something. If you do your child, you're saying something. So I think it's really important that we find a way to get involved, even if it's just bringing awareness, like we're doing today.
What is the mental awareness hotline number? Is it 988 or 911?
I always say dial 411.
411.
Yeah,
But
I-
there's another one too. There's a 9 something for mental. If you're
It
thinking
is,
about committing suicide or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
I can look that up.
411
But
is
411
good.
is the resource number. I always say
Exactly.
to call that one.
The National Suicide Prevention number is 1-800-273-8255.
So if anybody's out there thinking of committing suicide, having thoughts of that, give a call to 1-800-273-8255. Call someone.
Yeah.
I thank God that and it's usually not that you really want to commit suicide, you just don't like the way things are going at that time. And I thank God that that time when I thought I wanted to commit suicide, I called
Oh,
one of
that's
the
awesome.
deacons in my church,
Okay.
and he helped me and got me through it and called the doctors, because you really don't want to die. You just don't like the way whatever's happening, whether
Well, it's
you're being
dark.
called a
Yeah.
name or whatever
That's right.
is
It's
being
dark.
done. It's dark.
Well, yeah, it's because your thoughts are not rational. You're not thinking with a rational mind. We often would say, well, why would they want to kill themselves? They're not thinking with a rational mind.
Someone shared on Facebook that they were thinking about committing suicide, and someone, the other person that commented, just kind of went past it like, oh girl, you'll be okay. No,
Yeah.
let's get on the phone and call that person. They're telling you on national Facebook that they're thinking about killing themselves.
Right.
So we can't go past
Yes.
those types of comments that people might say, because they might do it.
And they need
Just like
hope.
they need hope.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
need to know, today doesn't mean the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Things are going to change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I've discovered that these things happen over time. That it just doesn't happen. It's just not one incident that
Yeah.
occurs.
Yeah.
And so often, and Scripture's so powerful, it is that whole notion of, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to beat a child.
That's
so
right.
let's just
Right.
tell people that. But you must discipline them, right? Because discipline is so important. Discipline that mind becomes critical and important. And what you three have done, just once again, is just totally reinforced that the walk that especially African American females have had in this country has just been so much different than that of African American men. And that's not to put, any slight to what has happened to African American men, but I'll tell you, I've never thought about suicide because I be honest about it. I thought what my parents would do to me would be worse than that. And I mean, and that's really the truth.
But that's
And so-
good. They put a fear in you.
Oh,
that's what we're supposed to
absolutely.
do. Put a fear in
And
them.
and then
But a good fear.
Yeah, but just think about it. But then spiritually, we have separated them. And when you think of what our forefathers and mothers had to deal with, and what carried them. So what carried them, and what carried us to this point? Boy, I'm telling you, it is in the DNA of African Americans. And one of the things that we're doing now that I think is a mistake is trying to walk away from it. And I think that is a huge mistake in our community. And what I tell educators all the time is that you must know the child. And to know the child, you must know the parents. You cannot educate a child that you don't know. Just a quick story. The second African American to get a PhD from Harvard is Carter Woodson. And Carter Woodson went to the Philippines along with 10 white PhDs, and they're going to go there to transform education. They failed miserably. Carter Woodson stayed. Country and help them with that. I say the same thing is true here. So I tell anybody, especially educators, when you try to separate African American children from spirituality, you're going to have trouble. And so that's the reason why we have young people read Proverbs.
Then some people
and
don't
understand
believe in
Proverbs.
spirituality. What
Yes.
about that group?
They may not.
Yeah, but I
They
think
may
you
not.
have to also
They may
understand that, okay, if you don't want to believe that, then believe in faith.
Right.
Because faith is really about belief. And
Faith in who and what?
Yeah, so believe in faith, believe in the influence. Because for me, I'm a Christian, but I mean, so if I give them something, I can give them the belief in that you can succeed in life, the belief that you can depend on your elders. That I can be that start for them. And then they can. God say, if I water it, He can take it over.
That's right. He'll get
I mean,
you
he can
fruits.
he can take it over.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about
Yeah, I
it.
don't
What
have to
I've
worry about it
found
all.
is that when I run across different people that are atheists, when something happens bad in their life, they will call and, can you pray for my child? Well, who am I praying to?
Amen.
Because you told me, I don't even say that. I just pray, but I'm thinking, okay, but when we go through something, I can even think of a loved one that I've had that did not believe, that thought that if you went to church, that was just something that black people needed to do, if that's what you need to do to have something to hang on to. But then when there was a situation of life or death with their child, they were praying up a storm.
I think it's really important for us to meet people where they are. I love what John Maxwell said. He said, you gotta meet them where they are, so you gotta go where they are before you take them to where you want to go.
That's true.
You really do have to meet people where they are. And I really, that's what you were saying
Of
too.
course,
And
you gotta
even
meet people where they are.
learning the child. You gotta learn kids. You gotta you gotta be willing to let them be who they are.
He's a
And
free
that
will
means
God.
allowing them to talk even with subject matters that you might not want to hear.
Well, that's true. That's really
Well,
true. You educate yourself.
Talk about that a little more. So what do you mean?
Well, if they want to talk about sexual things and you're their parent,
Why
or
not?
if they want to
Yeah.
talk about things that they're experiencing, things that they might see going
seeing
on.
a lot.
I believe if it was not for my grandmother, I know I wouldn't be here today. She was
Yeah.
that one person that I think children need somebody that they can talk to about anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Of course.
Now, does that mean that sometimes when they're talking, you might have to say, "Oh my goodness," you don't want to hear it, or it shocks you.
But your
you
job
need
is
to
to
listen
educate
and
and
then
provide wisdom.
educate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you wake up early in the morning, if you're praying for that child, trust me, God will give you the wisdom to guide and direct
Yeah.
that child.
Exactly.
And so, no, you don't push them and beat them up and tell them, I don't want to
That's
hear
right.
that.
Or just
because
poo-poo whatever
that's
they're
right. Oh,
saying.
no,
That's
you
what
can
they're
never do
feeling.
that.
That's what
Right.
they're thinking.
And a
Absolutely.
lot
Or
of
that's what
adults
they're
do
curious
that.
about.
Yeah, a lot of adults do that, and it happens all around the world. It happens all around the world with our kids. That's what the inequalities are about. One group thinking they're better than another group. And I think it's really important that we understand that.
And do you know there's so much on the internet? I was watching a group of children preparing for school, and they went on the website to see what to expect going into this grade. And the children knew how to do that. They went to see, well, what should I expect when I go into junior high? And there was a list of things, some good, some bad. And it was right there on the internet. Thank God I was sitting there, so I was able to kind of chime in and hear if it was something that was not so great. But there were lists.
Wow.
So these children, the group of kids were 10, 9, and 12.
Yeah.
They know how to go online and search for things, and there's information
Shoot, 3, 4,
out
5.
there.
But
3, 4, 5. My grandson taught me how to talk text at 3.
Okay.
I didn't know how to
this.
talk text.
Typically, it's entertainment. You can understand? Because somebody's selling them something. Typically, it's entertainment. Typically, it's not education. It's not the things that are there to help enlighten them.
Well, you
and
make
to
a good
enrich
point.
them. Right.
Instagram for some girls, what end up happening, some parents are suing Instagram because they were sending their girls things about their body, and their girls end up, I think, becoming anorexic. And so why is Instagram sending kids stuff or telling them what to tune into? So some parents actually sued Instagram for that
Wow.
because their girls became withdrawn and very small.
Well, see, I'm one of the, I don't believe that the technology is the devil.
Right.
Kids can't be.
Oh, I don't
It's
either.
God-
Yeah, I
it's,
don't
it's
either.
God's technology. It's His wisdom.
But
it's His
there's
knowledge.
good and bad
Right.
in everything.
Well, but those are the people who are using it, and you have to. In today's world, the whole notion of education has to happen far earlier. You can't protect your child.
Yeah.
And we've
You
got to
cannot protect
monitor
them.
as best we can, what they're doing. I was forever, when my son was coming, I was looking through his drawers. If he had
There
a
you
phone,
go.
I was
That's
looking
right.
through all of it.
Right.
The paperwork, and privacy, what?
Right.
There you go.
I'm your privacy.
But you enable them and you help them protect themselves.
Yeah.
And then
so
you
much
can't
there.
always tell them that you're looking at their stuff. You have to wait for the right time, because then they'll hide it
Well,
in some
you know,
other fashion.
That was not the case in my house.
Yeah.
You had no rights in my house, and I thank God for it. And so I just believe today that the best thing that we can do is to prepare them.
That's true.
That's what God has asked you
Yeah.
to do, to prepare them. That's
Yeah.
the best thing, and the sooner the better. That's why they must be able to read. That's why.
Amen. That's right.
That's why. And we
We're
don't
getting
do
so far away from book reading. I still like to read books, but now they're reading it on the on their laptops, because the school is getting. That's not the same.
Well, my godson, he was having problems in calculus too, and because the text is online, and so he's not getting that same like when I was
Yeah,
taking
that's right.
calculus, it
right.
had the answers and told you how to get to the answers on the odd one. So he doesn't have that opportunity. So the way they're doing things now online isn't the same. So they would have to go to the library basically and find a book or
What about
Even for
going to the
college.
library and going to
Yeah.
the?
So-
We're gonna have to wrap it up because it is 6:58.
Bless you.
But I want you all to come back because I even want to talk more about how parents are allowing their youth who think that they are gay to become trans people at 10 and 11 and they're too young to really know what they want to do. But I know you all deal with all of those types of issues.
So you have so many different organizations, and everybody has an agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
And so everybody's pushing their agenda. And so once again, they're competing for your child. And
I
so
love how you said
parents just have to parent. You can't, the technology is not the devil. I leverage and use technology to deliver education, and my kids are the best. My
Yeah.
kids perform in the absolute best. So it's not the technology. It's not necessarily the hard copy book. All my books, I use Audible. So I
Yeah.
listen to my books. And so,
But you
we have to
started
protect
out
them.
reading them.
Oh, there's no
Then you went
question.
to Audible.
Well,
No
let me
question.
just say this real quick.
Right.
October the 11th.
Yes, I was just going to say, I want to
International
any
Day of the
we
Girl
want to tell.
Child. Okay.
October the 11th,
Yes.
International Day of the Girl Child. And what would you like us to do?
I would like for you to go to my website,
Which is, give us
sistersjourneyingtogether.org, and just
Make
send us a
donations?
message. Yes, you can make donations, but first you have to get in touch with us, and I can
Okay.
tell them where to go for the donations. We are setting that up because we want to do a real show for Nigeria. Make sure that they are able to purchase for the girls panties and as well as make up these pads.
Okay.
And I just want to say too that Dr. Nixon, he actually does ship things over, so he can
Okay.
talk about that a little because I want to get involved with that too because I do want things to go over, and he does have a connection.
Well, our girls are going to be very much involved in teaching, so I'm really excited about that.
That's wonderful.
And so this is a wonderful, wonderful event. These are the sorts of things that we need to do in order to take back control of our children, especially our young women.
Yes.
So join us. We'll be
Thank
on
you.
Instagram too. I mean, we'll be on social media as well.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
joining us today and coming out. It was wonderful, wonderful topic talking about our youth, how to keep them empowered, how to keep them encouraged, and how we as individuals have to work together as that village to help train up our children in the way that they should go. So when they're old, they won't depart from it.
Amen.
So I thank you all for being our guest today.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yes, and we'll be tuning. We'll have you back again soon. Real quick because they haven't tuned us out. We've got some girls that did a donation giveaway with the Lions Club a few weeks ago, and now we've got other young ladies, single mothers that we're giving furniture to, and it's just been wonderful. We gave over 70 people furniture a couple of weeks ago, and people are still bringing in furniture, and we're giving it to